Okay guys, let's get started on number 7 on our test review part 1. Using the same steps that we have on the front side of the page, we're going to distribute first. So use distribution here on this left side. Okay, so I have a negative 5 times 2x and a negative 5 times negative 4, and that's equal to negative 31 plus 7x. Okay, that simplifies to negative 10x. Negative 5 times negative 4 is plus 20 equals negative 31 plus 7x. Okay, our next step, that was our distribution. Our next step is to combine like terms. Okay, our left side is fine, our right side is fine. There's nothing to combine. Now step 3 is move our smallest variable. Okay, so we have a negative 10x and a positive 7x. Okay, the smaller variable is negative 10x, so we get rid of that one by moving it over using addition. Okay, so on my left side, the 10x's cancel out. I'm left with 20 equals negative 31 plus, I have a 7x and a 10x. That is 17x. Okay, my next step is to move my constants. So I have this negative 31 I can get rid of by plus 31. Plus 31. I'm left with 51 equals 17x. Next step is to get rid of the coefficient by using multiplication or division. So if I have 17 times x, I'm going to divide both sides by 17. Then I'm left with x equals 51 divided by 17 is 3. So I'm left with x equals to 3. Okay, moving over to number 8. My first step is distribute. So I'm going to distribute this 4 over here. Okay, so on my left side I have 4 times 7r plus 4 times 6 equals negative 36 plus 8r. Okay, simplify this. 4 times 7r is 28r. 4 times 6 is plus 24 equals negative 36 plus 8r. Okay, my next step is to get rid of my smallest variable. So 8r and 28r, so minus 8r minus 8r. On this left side, I'm left with 20r plus 24. Okay, so that was 28r minus r gives me 20r, and I've got that 24 there. On the right side, I'm left with negative 36 because my positive 8r and negative 8r cancel each other out. Okay, my next step is to move my constants using addition or subtraction. So if I have a plus 24 to get rid of it, it's a minus 24 minus 24. I'm left with 20r equals negative 36, and a negative 24 is a negative 60. Okay, now I get rid of the coefficient by dividing by 20. What I do to one side, do to the other. Okay, balance that equation. I'm left with r equals 2. Negative 60 divided by 20 is a negative 3. Okay, just remember negative divided by positive gives you negative. Okay, if you need to pause and go over that again a little bit more slowly, then go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we're moving on to question number 9. Okay, first step, I distribute. So on this one, I distribute this 6 to the 3, negative 6 to the 3, and then negative 6 to the negative 8k. And then I also have distribution on this right side. Okay, so now we're adding a few steps here. Distribute here and distribute here. Okay, so I've got on this left side negative 6 times 3 minus 6, negative 6 times negative 8k equals, on the right side, negative 6 times 1 and a negative 6 times negative 7k. Okay, so now this left side, I've got negative 18. Okay, a negative 6 and an 8k is a positive 48k. On the right side, negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. And then negative 6 times negative 7k is a positive 42k. Okay, now there's nothing, no combining like terms. I move my smallest variable. Okay, my smallest variable is 42k, so minus 42k, minus 42k. On this left side, I have negative 18, 48k minus 42, so 48 minus 42 is a positive 6k. I've got on the right side negative 6, because my 42k and my minus 42k cancel each other out. Okay. Now my next step is to move my coefficients. So I do plus 18, plus 18. I'm left with 6k equals negative 6 plus 18 is a positive 12. Now I'll get rid of my coefficient by dividing by 6. Divide by 6. I've got k equals to 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay, moving along, my next equation is number 10. I'm going to distribute again, and this one I'll distribute on both sides. Distribute that negative 5, and on the right side I'll distribute this negative 8. Okay, so I am left with, I've got this side over here, negative 5 times 8, and a negative 5 times 4x equals, I have a negative 8 times 8, and a negative 8 times x. Okay, on this left side, negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. Negative 5 times 4x is negative 20x. On the right side, negative 8 times 8 is a negative 64. And negative 8 times x is negative 8x. Okay, I use my distribution. There's no combining like terms on the left or right side. So my next step is to get rid of or move the smallest variable. Okay, just remember, be careful here. The smaller variable is a negative 20 because negative 20 is smaller than negative 8. So plus 20x plus 20x to balance my equation. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Okay, so on this left side, I'm left with negative 40 equals negative 64, and a negative 8 and a positive 20 gives me a positive 12x. Okay, now my next step is to move my constant. So I have this negative 64, so I add 64 to both sides. On this left side, negative 40 plus 64 is a positive 24. My 64s cancel on the right side. I'm left with 12x. My next step, step 5, get rid of my coefficient by using our inverse operations. So if it's 12 times x, I use division. So divide by 12. Okay, so now I'm left with x equals to 2. Okay, if you need to pause and rewind, go ahead and do so. Down to our last two questions of the review. Let's see. Again, I'm going to distribute as my first step. So I'm going to distribute that negative 2 here and here. And then on this right side, I'll distribute the negative 1 here. Remember, when you have a negative outside of this parentheses, that is just like a negative 1. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Okay. Distributing, I have a negative 2 times x and a negative 2 times 2, and then minus 8. Okay, on the right side, I have Remember, that's a -1 times x and a -1 times 6. Okay, remember, when you have a negative in front of parentheses, that's just like a -1 right there. Okay, so now simplifying this left side is -2x. -2 times 2 is a -4, and then I have this -8 here. Over here on the right side, -1 times x is -x. -1 times 6 is -6. Okay, now my next step is to combine like terms. On this left side, I can combine my -4 and my -8. So I've got -2x. -4 minus 8 is -12. And that equals to -x minus 6. Okay, my next step is to move my smallest variable. Remember, -2 is smaller than -1, so add 2x to this side, add 2x to this side. I'm left with -12 equals this is actually a -1x, so don't forget about that. So -1 plus 2 is a +1x minus 6. Okay, now move my move my constants. So +6 plus 6. On this left side, -12 plus 6 is a -6. So x equals to -6. Okay, remember to pause and rewind if you need to. On your last problem here, I'm going to distribute 4 times 8, 4 times 2k, and on the right side, 2 times 4 and 2 times k. Okay, so again, our last problem, we have 4 times 8 plus 4 times 2k equals, on the right side, 2 times 4 plus 2 times k, and then I have this plus 2k already here on this left on this side. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 2k is plus 8k. 2 times 4 is 8. And then I have plus 2k plus 2k. Okay, now I did my distribution. I now need to combine like terms. So on this right side, I can combine these two. Okay, so on the left side, it's simplified already. Oops, sorry about that. Get rid of that one. Let's go back to blue, I'm sorry. Okay, so I have 32 plus 8k on the left side. On the right side, I have 8 plus 4k, because 2k plus 2k is 4k. Okay, now my next step, move my smallest variable. 4k is smaller than 8k, so minus 4k minus 4k. Oops, that's a k. So I'm left with 32 plus, I have 8k minus 4k is positive 4k equals 8. Now I move my constant, so minus 32 minus 32. I'm left with 4k on the left side equals 8 minus 32 is a negative 24. Okay, so now to get rid of my coefficient, I divide by 4, and I am left with k equals negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6. Okay, so that covers us for test review part 1. Remember, if any of these problems did not make sense to you, please go back, review your steps. Again, first step, distribution. Second step, combine like terms. Third step, move the smallest variable. Fourth step is to move your constants using addition or subtraction. And then your fifth step is to get rid of your coefficient by using multiplication or division. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much and have a great day.